Hello there! Welcome to my show, COVID-19 update by Heerak for January 5th, 2021. It's fifth day in the new year. Yeah, and it's winter time. Winter started December 22nd or 21st. So it's only been like what, couple weeks since winter started. So we are in for a long, long winter. So Eskimo up, everyone. I'm wearing a Christmas gift from, I think it was my sister. It's either my sister or my mother. They think alike. So, they like to get me a jacket every year for Christmas. Either my sister, I think it was my sister because she picks out nice jackets, and this is like a Tommy Hilfiger. So my sisters keep me fashionable. They get me all these fashionable clothing for Christmas and birthday. Isn't this nice and fashionable, this winter jacket? Yeah, so you saw a jacket yesterday, leather jacket by Calvin Klein. That was like several years ago. This was another year. Every year I get like a new jacket, which is kind of nice because I have all these options. Um, yeah, I have multitude of options to be fashionable every day. I can wear a different jacket every day. Yeah. So yeah, this is nice and warm. It's like I think this is fake fur. It'd be nicer if it was real fur, but yeah. Anyway, sorry you animal people out there, but I mean, I love steak, I love beef, I love chicken, I love turkey, I love anything that walks. Although I draw my line at eating dogs and cats. Yeah, that's just not my thing. I know there are people around the world who eat dogs and cats. Hey, I'm not gonna judge you. They're not, as long as you don't eat human beings. I'm not gonna judge you. If you eat different species, just don't eat your own species. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, but I just don't feel comfortable eating a dog or a cat. But hey, meat is meat, they say. But I just, no, yeah, don't ever feed me a cat or a dog. Uh, hey, no offense, but it's just people have preferences, and I prefer to eat beef, chicken, turkey, pig. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, today's happy birthday. And we like to eat birds, although there are certain birds we don't really eat in the West, like in America, like parrots. We don't really eat parrots. But I mean, it's a bird, so I guess you could technically eat parrots. But we eat chicken, we eat turkey, but we don't really eat like parrots. Yeah. But anyway, today's happy birthday. So all you bird lovers out there, yeah, remember cat eats every bird that's out there. I remember like yeah, having a cat as a pet. The cat would go out and like catch a bird and bring it in. I'm like, how did you catch a bird? The cats can't even fly. How did the cat catch a bird? And you're like, if you have a cat and you have a cat who like roams around, they bring like a bird. Yeah, they caught a bird and they bring it in to home. It's like, hey, this is a bird-free zone, and we give you cat food. But I think cats have this like wild instinct. They wanna, yeah, they wanna catch their prey. They have that the cat instinct. So all you bird owners out there, just be aware. Be careful if you have a neighbor with a cat. you know. Um, yeah, what can I say? We have 4,001 COVID-19 deaths in the last 24 hours. That's one day. We have 4,000 deaths. That's our usual number right now. Unfortunately, that's our new real. We have 4,000 Americans die every day. And I'm predicting that it's going to go to like 10,000 Americans dying every day in January, month of January. It's only fifth day in January. So, because every 3 days you have like 10,000 people dying. So it's not so hard to imagine like 3 days being shrunk 2 days. And then, I mean, already if you have 4,000 people dying days, it's almost like 2 days, right? You have 10,000. It's not so hard to imagine like going to one day with 10,000 deaths. You know what I'm saying? As you know, Cambridge University is closed, Oxford University is closed, England shut down all of its universities, all of its high schools, all of its middle schools, all of its elementary schools, all of its kindergarten. That's what they should do. As you know, I'm Heerak Christian Kim, independent candidate for U.S. Congress in Virginia's 8th District. Although I may run as a Republican in the year 2022 primaries, I'm still praying about it. But um, so as you know, I worked hard from 3 months in the summer to close down public schools in Virginia's 8th District to save your children's lives. Arlington County Public Schools, Alexandria City Public Schools, Fairfax County Public Schools, and Falls Church City Public Schools. Because COVID-19 is like spreads from people to people. So I'm glad to see England catching on. I mean, I've been like tweeting Prime Minister Boris Johnson to close down schools. I'm glad to see Prime Minister Boris Johnson finally listening to me. Geez, if you listened to me in August and closed down schools for September and October, you would not be in this mess, Mr. Boris Johnson. Boris. I don't know how he got his name Boris, because he's an English guy, but he's a Russian name Boris, But it's a cool name, I wouldn't mind naming like one of my kids Boris, especially if I marry a beautiful Russian girl. Did I tell you I dated a Russian? She was half Russian on the mother's side. She was fully Russian on the mother's side. On the father's side, she is Ukrainian. And her father was a police chief in a Ukrainian city. So I guess she's living as a Ukrainian now. Although she went to Moscow State University, she was like a sophomore or junior at Moscow State University when I flew in from America to visit her in Russia. I don't think if you remember the story. I flew in for a weekend trip. She was pretty. She was redheaded Russian girl with blue eyes. She was taller than me. She was like 5'11" or 6 foot. I like taller women. And so, I was, I thought it was definitely worthwhile to fly in for a weekend. So I flew in from, I was at Brown University at that time. So I was a little bit older than her. I was teaching Jewish studies at Brown and researching Jewish studies at Brown. And I flew in and just for a weekend, basically like 4 days. So I flew in, spent like maybe 3 days, spent the weekend and flew back to America. And then we were supposed to meet during my spring break in Madrid, Switzerland. And so I flew in from America to Madrid to meet her. We're going to spend the week together. So I had everything arranged. We're going to have fun time, just like dancing away. And I flew in and I was waiting for her. And she was supposed to fly in, but she didn't arrive. I'm like, what the hey? What the hey? And I found out that Holland, Netherlands, where she flew into Amsterdam, and from Amsterdam she was to fly into to Madrid, and they wouldn't let her fly into Madrid, Spain. I'm like, what? Why not? So I guess in European Union, Russia is not part of European Union, and she's Russian, right? She's Russian citizen, and so she flew from Moscow to Amsterdam, which is a hub city, and they wouldn't let her go through the customs. They wouldn't let her in because she didn't have enough money. So they were presuming like she was trying to like be an illegal and like settle down in European Union illegally. So they won't let her fly to Madrid. They won't let her into European Union at the gate. So they turned her back. And so she had to fly back to Russia. I was so upset. And like I guess they asked her how much money she had on her, and she didn't have enough to like stay for a week, you know? And I guess she didn't have a credit card or anything. So they're like, well, you don't have any money. How are you going to stay 1 week? And she's like, well, my boyfriend is waiting for me in Madrid. Um, yeah, I'm the boyfriend. Um, so they didn't believe her. They thought she was lying. I'm not lying. I mean, and I guess she showed her a photograph of me and everything. But they didn't believe her. But she was like flying alone from Moscow. I flew in from America. I'm an American citizen. I'm like teaching at Brown University, doing Jewish studies research at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. And so it was like, I saw her for 3 days. Um, you know, oh man, maybe my mom and dad are watching this show. I didn't tell them about her. Oh man, maybe my sisters are watching this show too. Oh shoot, I didn't tell them about. Yeah, I come from a very very like there was expectation that I marry a Korean girl, and I think my mom still wants me to marry a Korean girl. My dad's like, as long as she's Christian, it's fine. So, but you know how it is. Moms always get their way. I think my mom's open now to me marrying a white girl, but or anybody who's not Korean, who's Christian, because I've dated Hispanic women and black women. But anyway, so like Irina didn't make it into Spain. So I was like in Spain by myself for a week. I mean, obviously I made the best of it. And maybe I'll share with you, story of how I made the best of it for a week. But yeah, I was bummed because I was supposed to spend that week with my girlfriend Irina, and I was serious about her too. I was like, we might have gotten married, but I don't know. It's you know, I- it's not easy when you're an academic, you're a researcher. It's not like you're rich, you know. Um, and so yeah, I mean, but anyway, yeah, Irina's pretty. She's like I would say like 5'11", maybe 6 foot, maybe 5'10", 5'11". I'm not sure exactly. She's redheaded. Uh, Although I think she's blonde and dyed her hair red. She was telling me I can't remember. She's either blonde, dyed her hair red, or she's natural redhead. And she has blue eyes. She's very milky white skin. It's like 100% Slavic, or Ukrainian and Russian. And very fair skin, very tall, very, very shapely, thin and shapely. She's very attractive. I saw her at John F. Kennedy Airport, and I'm like, wow, she's pretty. So I walked over to her and started talking with her, and then asked for her contact information, like phone number and email. And that I started talking with her like that. She flew in from Moscow. I guess she was a freshman in college at the time, and she was like kind of doing Girl Scout camp. Like I guess they have an exchange program or something where they bring in summer camp. Girl Scouts bring in like summer camp people from other countries. I don't know how it is. So she was like in Girl Scout camp for 2 weeks. And I remember she's like, oh, they won't let us use email. So I had to like fax her like stuff. It's like I couldn't write too many private things because other people could read it. She's like, they won't let us use our email. I'm like, what the heck? But anyway, so I faxed her, and communicated like that, which was a little bit weird, but so I faxed her and she faxed me. I had to get like, like a fax number. Like I had to get a fax machine. So we communicated like that our first summer, when she was a Girl Scout camp, you know, and then yeah, and then it developed from there, and you know, then eventually I flew over to Russia to see her. Uh, yeah, she's pretty. Uh, yeah, I've dated a lot of beautiful women. But so I visited her, like I couldn't visit her over Christmas break because I go home for Christmas. Christmas you spend with your family. And, I couldn't really share that I was dating her with my sisters or my parents. So I flew in to see her like before I went home for Christmas for like a weekend, and then I was going to see her for spring break. So coordinating these things are not easy, Uh, but anyway, like Cambridge and Oxford's closed now, and I'm glad Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, took my advice because opening schools it vectors COVID death, right? You get COVID because schools are open. So everybody in Virginia's 8th District and Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County, you owe me. I worked 3 months to close down public schools in Arlington, Alexandria, Falls Church, and Fairfax County to save your life, your children's life. You owe me, Virginia's 8th District owes me. Because, geez, I'm just following basic rules of quarantine and pandemic that's been around for centuries, but apparently like all these governors are not following the rules. Like even Ralph Northam, who's a doctor, he's not following the simple rules of pandemic quarantine, which is a sad thing. He's a Democrat, by the way. Don Byer wasn't like close schools down either. I was the lone voice in the wilderness trying to save your life. Yeah, close schools down. I was the lone voice in both parties, Democrat and Republican. Yeah. But I'm proving to be correct. So Boris Johnson closed down all the schools, which is sad for people in England on one level, because they're going to miss all this beautiful stuff. Beautiful women. She's from Iran. She's like some kind of a nobility or royalty from Iran. She's studying at Cambridge, like some powerful princess, Iranian princess or something. I don't know. She's from Iran. She's pretty, isn't she? She's like Persian. Yeah, Persian women are pretty. Yeah, and like that's a formal hall. There's like one or two there's like 2 formal halls every week at Jesus where people wear like in their tuxedos. You see how people are dressed in tuxedos? I bought a tuxedo and I wore it like 3 times every week. It was worth buying a tuxedo. Not like in America, you buy a tuxedo, you don't wear it that many times. At Cambridge, I was wearing it like every 3 times a week. Yeah, yeah, money well spent. Tuxedos. Um, yeah. So yeah, you see, yeah, that's Jesus College Dining Hall, formal hall. Yeah, it's nice and fun. And you see me with some English nobility there, Patrick James, and James Bond looking guy. And you see me with Martin Wood and the Prince of Freiburg there in the middle. And then you have Martin Wood, me, and some English nobility. you know, I I befriended so many nobles and royalty in Europe. It's not even funny. They'll probably remember me because I'm unforgettable. What can I say? I am unforgettable. But yeah. So yeah, but we have 4,100 deaths. Oh, I miss Cambridge. I love Cambridge. Being there, wearing my tuxedo, and I'm not being with royalty and nobility. I enjoy that. Um, yeah, especially dating like noble women or royalty women from all over different parts of Europe. Very polished, very smooth, very je ne sais quoi. Very. I like the royal women, the blue blood women. I'm not gonna lie. When Billy Joe sang Uptown Girl, geez, Uptown Girl is nothing compared to royalty women. If you haven't dated royalty, you haven't lived. If you're a guy, I would say it's like creme de la creme. It's like champagne of dating. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah. Going back to COVID-19 in America, we have 357,132 deaths in America, which is very, very sad. But it's going to get worse, unfortunately, especially in January and wintertime. Ergo, the winter clothing. Just to remind you, it's winter in America. And also show off my Christmas gifts from my sister or my mother. I think it's my sister. It's like sometimes my mother like gives me Christmas jacket gifts too. So it can be a little bit confusing when you try to remember. But I think this is from my sister, Tommy Helfinger. Nice, isn't it? um, yeah, and the confirmed cases are 21,042,929. So it's still not 10% of America's population because we need like 33 million people to get it before we could say 10% of America got it. Well, let's look at the Middle East, cases, top five. The music you're hearing in the background is actually from Turkey, but Ottoman Empire spanned like Ottoman Empire was a big empire. So yes, this Turkish music was probably heard everywhere, in the Ottoman Empire. So yeah, so yeah, it's been Middle East as well. Um, yeah, so so let's look at number one is Iran. Iran is number one with 1,255,620 cases, 55,748 deaths, a 4% death rate. So that's really high. It's really bad. Iraq is trying to catch up to Iran. 599,126 cases, 12,856 deaths, 2% death rate. So it's still fairly low. Um, Israel, I don't know how it does it. It's maintaining 0.8 death rate. I mean, it's beating out its Arabic neighbors. Israel is proving to be superior against its Arabic neighbors in keeping the COVID-19 death rate down. Right? It's maintaining 0.8 death rate. I mean, numbers are increasing, but only 0.8% of all those who got COVID has died. Unlike Arabic countries, like Iraq used to be less than 1%. Look, it's 2% now. Saudi Arabia used to be less than Israel. Now it's 2%. Jordan is 1%. So Israel is beating all of its Arab neighbors and preserving life, because staying alive is half the battle in COVID-19, right? Because who cares if you're good if you're dead? You know what I'm saying? Just stay alive. um, yes, Israel is number three, 456,139 cases, but 0.8% death rate. So 3,496 people have died. Yeah. Um, yeah. Saudi Arabia, I don't know. It's getting bad in Saudi Arabia. 363,259 cases and 6,265 people died, 2% death rate. At this, I mean, if Saudi Arabia is not careful, they won't have like royalty dying. You have to be careful. Geez, you can't have death spiking, or you got to control your death rate. Jordan is 301,303. So 1% death rate, 3,940 people have died. So Israel is basically doing the best among the top five. But I have to tell you, there are Arabic nations with practically zero death per day. So, I mean, I'm not including all the Arabic nations, I'm just including the top five. But Israel is definitely beating Iran. Iran is not an Arabic nation, it's a Persian nation, but Muslim nation nonetheless. Iraq is number two, it's an Arabic nation. Saudi Arabia is number four, it's an Arabic nation. Jordan is an Arabic nation. And Israel is kicking your butt. Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel is kicking your butt. I mean, just numbers don't lie. So let's go to some of the articles here. COVID mutant hits New York. Yeah, it was bound to happen. Um, New York State reports first case of UK COVID-19 variant. And that was January 4th, yesterday, by Keishia Kluki. New, it's just Bloomberg. I don't know why new is there. Maybe Bloomberg is thinking about making a new Bloomberg. New York State has found its first case of UK variant coronavirus. Governor Andrew Cuomo said a man in his 60s who lived in Saratoga County in upstate New York, that's like all the way up there. Maybe somebody came for Niagara Falls. tested positive for B117 variant, Cuomo said. The man had not traveled recently, which suggests that it was the result of community spread, meaning somebody from England brought it over and then it just spread it in the neighborhood. It could have been an American who went to England and flew back, bring it back, or it could be an English person flying in for tourism or whatever. Either way, it's spreading in the community. That's the scary thing. Cuomo said on a conference call, the state has done about 5,000 tests looking for the new strain. 5,000, that's it. So you can imagine it's probably like there are probably thousands of cases right now. Because you're doing only 5,000 tests. I mean, how are you going to discover it? You know what I'm saying? You should be doing tests on every person with tests, not just 5,000. Cuomo said the new strain is more transmittable. He said, which could be a problem as the state deals with rising hospitalizations. The man is affiliated with N Fox Jewelers, a store in Saratoga Springs, and there are 3 other coronavirus cases stemming from there. Yeah, my buddy who died, my friend David Hong Kwangyang, who died from COVID in April 2020, he owns a jewelry store. He's the manager of the jewelry store. And a lot of people come and they test out their jewelry and and they may call from the jewelry. You have to clean it properly. If not, if the person has COVID, you can get it. So yeah, I mean, I can understand how that could be. So I thought about how David Hong got COVID and died. So yeah, it's sad out there. Yeah, second article. COVID variant in South Africa is more of a problem than the one in the UK. So there are currently 2 big variants spreading like wildfire all over the world. One that originated in UK, one that originated in South Africa. They're completely different. This article is by Holly Elliott and CNBC, January 4th. A variant of the coronavirus identified in South Africa is more problematic than the mutation found in the UK. Remember, these are only 2 countries. There are other countries where mutations are happening that haven't been discovered yet. You can guarantee there are mutations in other countries that have not been discovered yet. You got to keep that in mind. Remember, United Kingdom is very good about DNA sequencing, and South Africa is pretty good as well. So they're able to discover new strains. If you go to countries like India, which is not as advanced in DNA sequencing, from what I understand, maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. And there are other countries, Brazil is not as good as America or UK or South Africa in DNA sequencing, from what I understand. There could be a new strain of COVID mutating in Brazil as well. I mean, there are many countries where a new strain can be proliferating, right? They haven't been identified. You can't just say only UK and South Africa have mutant COVIDs, and they're different from each other, obviously because it's regionally developing. Yeah, exactly. So that's why we took the action that we did to restrict all flights from South Africa. So UK's variant is spreading all over the world now. But UK is afraid of the South African variant. The South African variant can evade vaccines. So if you got COVID vaccine, Moderna, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, the understanding is South African COVID mutant can evade all of them. That's the understanding right now. Although nobody's sure, but it's possible that UK's COVID mutant can evade all the vaccines as well. So you may have 2 strains that are identified which can evade COVID-19 vaccines. But remember, these are not the only mutant COVIDs. They're the 2 identified ones. There are dozens and dozens of unidentified mutant COVID spreading all over the world, which can evade COVID-19 vaccines. Yeah, COVID-19 vaccine is outdated. It's useless right now. Even if you have it, you can get COVID. Yeah, it's outdated already. This is why I didn't get COVID vaccine, because I knew this would happen. Because I study science, right? I knew this would happen. So I'm like, why inject myself with a vaccine, which is going to be outdated? And I injected my body with something foreign element, experiment the vaccine. Who knows what damage that's going to do to my body? It's going to be useless in a few weeks, even if it were working. So that's why I didn't take the vaccine. I'm glad I did. Um, we still don't know what kind of damage mRNA vaccines can do in the long run. We don't know. It may cause cancer. Who knows? No one knows yet. That's why I don't want to be the guinea pig. So maybe you took the vaccine, maybe you're the guinea pig. But remember, I'm going to watch for a year and see what happens. As I said, vaccines are outdated now. So I don't think, people who get COVID vaccines will be able to be safe just with the vaccine. They have to wear the mask and everything. They have to do exactly the same thing that people who didn't get vaccine does. They could still get COVID. Yeah, so let's continue reading. They both have multiple different mutations in them. So they're not a single mutation. So these COVID mutants are kind of confounding scientists because there's several mutations in them. So what that means is COVID-19 is becoming smart. Before it just has single mutation, and they're realizing it's not really doing much. People are throwing antibodies at them, remdesivir at them, So COVID-19 got smart and said, hey, we gotta have several mutations to evade hostile blocking of our viruses, Yeah, so they have multiple mutations. This is a smart virus, COVID-19. As the French people say, formidable, formidable. The mutations associated with the South African form are really pretty substantial change in the structure of the virus's spike. Structure of the virus spike protein. Remember, mRNA virus is supposed to cause some kind of a protein response to block out COVID-19, right? But if its spike has mutated so much, COVID-19 mRNA vaccine will not work, even if it works. You see what I mean? Because the protein spike structure is so different, it can evade all the vaccines that's in the market. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, this is why I didn't take the COVID-19 vaccine. I did research. I realized if the COVID-19 spike proteins mutate, none of the mRNA vaccines will work. Because mRNA vaccine is meant to cause protein formation to block out the traditional COVID-19 spikes, so you won't latch on. And I've done evidence-based research, theoretical research, and I used my Leonardo da Vinci comprehensive knowledge perspective to deduce that COVID-19 vaccines will be outdated in a matter of days, even if it's actually working. And I'm glad that this article is showing me to be correct. He said there were questions as to whether the Pfizer BioNTech, Oxford University, or AstraZeneca vaccines would be disabled in the presence of such mutation. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, they're going to disable your vaccine. Oh my gosh, can you imagine that COVID-19 is mutating in a way to disable your vaccines? But you may disable your vaccines, but the side effects of the vaccines may damage your body. And when it disables your vaccines, we don't know what kind of harm it's going to do to your body. Yeah, I'm so glad I didn't take the mRNA vaccine. Jeez. Suckers! Those of you took mRNA vaccine. Suckers! No. I mean, you're free to choose what you want. I mean, I'm glad that my Leonardo da Vinci-esque research prowess and analysis prowess is proving to be correct. And I'm glad I didn't take the vaccine. Yeah, my initial predictions are coming true. Um, Number three, impatient Governor Cuomo sounds off on slow rollout of COVID vaccine. Governor Cuomo still doesn't get it. He thinks the vaccine is going to help. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, hello there, hey Beth, hey Beth, hello there, hey Beth. It's a scene from Back to the Future. Hello Beth, hey Beth. I mean, I just feel like doing that to Governor Cuomo. Hey Beth, the vaccines are not going to work, Beth. I don't know. Some people, they want to believe in fairy tales, fairy godmother, and Santa Claus. Hey, I know it's great for the kids, but hey, Governor Cuomo, you're growing up. You gotta grow up a little bit. Face reality. Jeez. So inpatient Governor Cuomo sounds off on slow rollout of COVID vaccine. They're not going to work. I mean, geez, for God's sake. Uh, to healthcare workers in New York City, Westchester, and Long Island. So Marsha Kramer with an A. Um, so yeah. So the article says angry at a slow pace of vaccine distribution, Governor Andrew Cuomo on Monday expanded the number of eligible people and slammed hospitals who have not used their allotment. Maybe it's because there are smart nurses who are not going to inject themselves with COVID vaccine. I mean, I don't want to say smart because, I mean, if COVID vaccine works, then it's a smart thing to take it. But it's too experimental of a vaccine. I mean, I wish vaccine works. I mean, I still hope that I'm wrong, but it seems like I'm not wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, it would be great if the vaccine works and we could solve this problem, but it's not that simple. You know, I mean, cosmos is not that simple. You know, and we're trying to reduce the cosmos, the environment, to simplicity, and I think it's not doing justice to the complexity of our environment or living organisms, including viruses and bacteria. You know what I'm saying? We can't reduce them to like simple things. They're not that simple. They're very complex. They're living organisms that are very complex. Um, so he was especially upset with New York City's uh, Health Plus Hospitals Corporation and hospitals in Nassau and Westchester counties. The governor expanded the number of people who can get the vaccine to include all doctors, nurses, healthcare staff who come in contact with the public. 2.1 million people in all. Wow, that's a lot of people who are doctors, nurses, healthcare staff. 2.1 million people. Oh, wait, or is the public 2.1 million people? See, I mean, they gotta work on their punctuation. You gotta say, come in contact with the public, comma, or semicolon, semicolon, i.e., or that is, comma, 2.1 million people in all. So 2.1 million people seems to be referring to the public because it's in the form of apostrophe to the public in a way with the dash there. But it's not quite clear because a dash could mean like, it could mean like the nurses, healthcare workers. Yeah, I mean, punctuation is important to clarify what's going on. Um, but anyhow, the main point is a lot of people are getting COVID, and a lot of people are not taking vaccines who are healthcare workers. So there are leftover vaccines. I think that's the main point here. But taking an experimental vaccine makes you a lab rat by definition. So you cannot blame nurses and doctors for not wanting to be a lab rat. You know, many of them are like, yeah, I'll sit this one out for a year and see what happens to those lab rats who take the vaccine. You know what I mean? So you can't blame them, you know? I mean, President Trump hasn't taken the vaccine, right? And as far as I know, Eric Trump, Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, none of them have taken the vaccine, right? There must be a reason why they haven't taken the vaccine. I don't know, did they take the vaccine? As far as I know, they haven't taken the vaccine yet, right? I mean, if it's such a lifesaver, obviously they would rush to take it, don't you think? So there's a reason why they haven't taken it. There must be, right? Just from a logical deduction perspective. Um, they probably know things we don't know, like highly confidential material. Eric Brockovich, much? Eric, Aaron Brockovich, much? Yeah. Um, Give me a 5 on Aaron Brockovich. Have you seen the movie Aaron Brockovich with Julia Roberts? It's a good movie. You should definitely see it if you haven't seen it. But one thing we know, a lot of people are going to die from COVID-19. And I just want to do a cheer for my classmates from Georgetown. We graduated on August 24, 2020, 25 of us. And I'm predicting that minimum 20% of us are going to die. 5 of us are going to die near 2021 if all 25 of us are working in the hospital. So I want to do a cheer because, you know, it's a little sad to die so soon after graduating from nursing school. But then we didn't expect COVID when we started nursing school, right? Global pandemic that kills people like 4,000 Americans per day. So I just want to do a cheer because I feel like they need a little cheer. You know what I'm saying? They spent $200,000 for 2 years of education, and they thought it would last them their whole lifetime. And nursing is a very safe job if there's no global pandemic. But because of global pandemic, nursing has become a very dangerous job, most dangerous in America, in fact. So $200,000 investment, that's like investment to risk death. You know what I mean? And if you don't mind risking death, I guess it doesn't matter. But, you know, most people don't like risking death. You know what I mean? So I feel for you, my fellow CNL 2020 members. You know, I feel for you. So CNL 2020, yay, we graduated from Georgetown University. We may die from COVID-19, but we can say, we did it, we graduated from Georgetown, yay. I mean, you gotta celebrate the joys, right? I mean, there's so much sadness in the world. I mean, the fact that so many people are dying, that's a sadness, right? Um, yeah. So yeah, let me do a cheer again because I mean, it's sad that so many people are dying. So and a lot of people are gonna die. A lot of nurses are gonna die. So for me, I graduated with CNL 2020 at Georgetown, 25 of us. And so that's like my cohort, my nursing cohort, that graduated in a 2-year intensive nursing program at Georgetown University School of Nursing and Health Studies. So I feel for them, if they die, and it will cause me a lot of sadness, but I know that some of them are going to die. This is COVID-19. And that's why I'm going to do a cheer for them because we've been through a lot together for 2 years. We suffered together a lot, go through all this pathophysiology class, and you know what I'm saying? And we survived, and everybody's like, "Yay, we survived!" And then now COVID hit, and they're like, "Oh my gosh," you know what I'm saying? So CNL 2020, yay, Georgetown University. Some of us may die from COVID-19 in year 2021, but we could say we will die as a Hoya. Yay, Hoyas! Yeah, I mean, you gotta celebrate I mean, you have to celebrate the joys, and because if you just think about the sadness, the sadness all around us, 4,000 Americans are dying every day. That's sad. So I hope that you will be well and that your children will be well too. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll bring you more important facts that will help you survive COVID-19. See you tomorrow. Bye.